This episode is brought to you by Babylon Burning. Since 1976, Babylon Burning has been serving small businesses, nonprofits, and indie artists and operations like Storied SF. What began in a small utility room in Bernal Heights by an art school dropout today finds its home in the heart of South of Market. Mike Lynch and his family and crew took over in 2001, surviving the dot-com bubble, the Great Recession, the pandemic, and an ever-changing social climate. Please consider Babylon Burning for all your screen printing needs. Reach them at babylont.com and follow them on social media at Babylon Burning Inc.
I'm Carolyn Sideco. I call myself a Filipina 24/7 as my calling. I am also a trained kinesiologist, high school athletic director, and physical educator.
Over the last couple of years, Carolyn Sideco has become one of my favorite human beings. I'm Jeff, and this is Storied San Francisco, a podcast about artists, activists, and small businesses that make this city so special. Welcome to part 1 of the last episode of Season 7. Though partly due to circumstances, I chose Carolyn to be the rap podcast for this season, but it was also intentional. I first learned about her thanks to Erin Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast, who's also my wife, as many of you know. Erin told me about a woman from San Francisco who also has a house in New Orleans, and who's kind of in W. Kamau Bell's show about mixed-race kids. In hindsight, that's merely scratching the surface of who Carolyn Sideco is. Erin and I were both so intrigued about this person. We finally met her at a pop-up event at Victory Hall in 2024, and have quickly become what I would call friends. We even got to stay at Capois Bleu, Carolyn's house in the 9th Ward in New Orleans, for Mardi Gras this year, which coincided with Erin's birthday. It's a whole damn thing. Be sure to check back next week for part 2 with Carolyn. Thanks for all your support this season. I'm taking August off, but we'll be back with Season 8 in early September, as well as an art show at Minibar to celebrate that. Every Kind of People opens on September 4th. Be sure to subscribe to our newsletter and watch our socials for more on that. Here's my friend, Carolyn Sideco.
We're going to have to start in the Philippines.
Okay.
1938 in the Philippines, a few years before World War II.
Mm-hmm.
My father, Tony Sideco, was born on the island of Cebu.
Mm-hmm.
He was born in 1938.
Okay.
My mother, Linda Sideco, was born in the town of Paniqui in Tarlac province in 1942. So that is technically wartime.
Right.
Occupation, Japanese occupation.
Right.
They met in the town of Paniqui when my dad worked for the electric company,
Okay.
which was next door to my mom's family's house.
Okay.
And my grandmother, my mom's mom, did the cooking and was the landlady, I guess, for some of the employees of the electric company.
For your dad.
One of which was my dad. So my dad was a boarder at my mom's family's house, and that's how they met.
Okay, wow. How much of that story do you know and do you want to tell?
Oh, well, according to my dad, he was eyeing my mom and probably her sisters as well for a few years. He says he was eyeing my mom for 5 years and then he got cross-eyed. So anyway, my mother
Love will do that.
Yes, it'll do that. And my mother is the oldest daughter after, I think, five brothers.
Oh, wow.
very well protected and chaperoned.
Okay, but can I just say, your poor grandmother? I'm one of 3 boys, and I'm forever paying my debts and my penances to my mom. I'm like, I'm so sorry, Mom. I love you.
Yes.
Five.
But
then she had some girls.
Then she had girls.
Okay.
5 boys and then 4 girls.
Wow.
Yes. So my mom is the oldest of the girls.
Okay.
And her sister, one of her sisters, lives next door to where we are now. Yes. And you just met her.
Yeah.
And so just similar to how they lived in the Philippines, intergenerationally and as a family with other micro families in their family. That's kind of like how I grew up here with my aunt and uncle next door to us. When we immigrated, so my dad came to the United States first in 1968 or 69. I was born in 1968. So his papers just got approved, and he came over shortly after we were born, my sister and I. And
can I just ask what his attraction or motivation, like what brought him to the States? It's probably obvious.
What he says, what he says is to chase the American dream.
Okay.
What I think is that our family benefited or were recipients of the 1965 Immigration and Naturalization Act of the United States that did bring a lot of Filipinos to the United States. My dad among them, and other folks from my mom's hometown and where they lived to the United States. So not only members of my dad's family were already here in the United States, but folks from my mom's hometown of Paniqui, Tarlac, also were already here, literally in the outer sunset of San Francisco.
Oh, wow. Okay. I was going to ask where.
Directly here.
Was. Okay.
So when my mom, my sister, and I came to the United States, we migrated directly to the outer sunset of San Francisco. Started off on 45th Avenue with my aunt and uncle, and then moved to 39th Avenue, where they still are right now.
We are right now.
Yeah, literally where we are right now, and into, I think this is fascinating, already into a community of Paniqueñans, people from my mom's hometown who she grew up with.
Incredible.
who she was already she was a teacher in the Philippines.
Your mom was? Okay.
A grade school teacher. We have pictures of her with her students, and she's sleeping in the back of the class. But
kids will make you tired. No, but teaching, I mean, we'll get to it, but teaching runs in the family.
Yes.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my dad was an engineer, a mechanical engineer, I believe. And so we came here into a community that had already been established as like Filipinos. There were Filipinos that were living in the neighborhood that were literally from my mom's hometown. So these feelings of isolation maybe, or feelings of assimilation weren't as urgent, I think, because especially for my mother, she didn't have to learn English so dramatically.
Right.
She already had affinity with people she knew already from her young adulthood or her childhood even.
And not just relatives of people, like the actual people that she knew.
Correct.
Incredible.
People she went to teaching school with, people she went to college with, people she went to grade school with.
That can make a move halfway across the world a lot easier, right?
Exactly. Yes, because that was her first time on a plane, the first time out of the country.
Right.
She was I think, 26 years old when
Right.
she had us.
Okay.
And she pretty much just trusted, according to her, she pretty much just trusted my dad when he said, we're going to go to the United States. And she's like, okay.
Yeah. It's almost like some sort of like expedition, and he came first, right?
Correct.
And he's like, okay, it's cool. Come on over.
Right. Well, I think like
The coast is clear.
Not only is the coast clear, but there's, at least for them, like there was this feeling that this is what we're going to do for, in community, which is interesting, I think, because we came into this place where everyone I knew for a long, long time was a Paniquanian. So either came from the same hometown as my mom, or was a child of, like me, someone from that hometown. So the direct connection to this specific town in the Philippines was very present for us. And there were quite a number of families, and some of them are still here. Many moved all over Daly City, Vallejo, South Bay. But a lot of them, and I live here now still in the Outer Sunset, and I drive around and I tell my family all the time, oh, this is where the Beltrans lived. This is where the Austrias lived. This is where, these families that we grew up with lived. And we have this common connection already to a specific place in the Philippines.
It's almost like a little bit of Philippines here.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think like that really incubated my own sense of being Filipino, that I never felt I was odd.
Right.
Or never felt, well, of course, I also have a twin sister. So there was always someone walking around who looks just like me. So maybe there was reassurance in that as well.
Comfort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
I never felt that that people were like, what are you? I never, I realize now that that's a privilege.
Yeah.
And
it shouldn't have to be, but
it shouldn't have to be.
But it is. It's not every immigrant or children of immigrant story.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't until I was an adult, actually, that even my own sense of who's Filipino or other Filipinos was broadened when I met Filipino Americans who were like my parents' age, but who didn't have an accent or the same accent that they had.
Right.
Every Filipino I knew who were my parents' age had that
Sounded
same
like
accent
them.
because they were from the same town.
Right.
And when I think about how that incubated a confidence of my own sense of who I am, it fascinates me now to this day. And today I am the president of the Paniquanians USA.
Oh, wow.
Which is an interesting thing because it's an organization that is as old as I am.
Right.
And I grew up in it. And my parents have been presidents of it. And all the folks who I call auntie and uncle have been presidents of it. And now they're looking to me, and even me as my 57-year-old self right now, they still call the young ones. You young ones should carry on our legacy. You young ones should do this, and that's, I take that seriously, and yet it's fascinating.
Totally. Totally.
So we have a group of folks that are also in my generation and even younger who are asking ourselves that same question. We didn't grow up in that same way. We're distant now to it. And for them to have that organization and that community that literally helped each other get jobs,
Yep.
helped each other settle, helped each other live here. The need is a little different now. It's shifted.
Sure. That's like the nuts and bolts of community, what you're
Correct.
talking about, right? All
Correct.
of that's involved in that.
Yeah. So it's
Helping out in times of need, yeah.
the stories that they tell of being newly immigrated and living intergenerationally and having not just family members in their houses, but townmates, right? So I remember growing up, we would go to the airport before TSA and all that, obviously. But we would go to the airport and literally there would be a group of Paniquanians greeting new families at the gate,
Yeah.
coming in, helping
It's the
them
thing we
with
did
all their
before
luggage.
9/11 kids.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
You could actually go in and go to the gate.
Or even farther than that, my sister and I would run around the airport and check all the payphones for loose change.
Oh, of course.
So,
Of course. And when you find it, it's the best thing ever.
oh my
And then you go
gosh.
buy candy?
Right.
Yeah.
Of course. Every trip to the airport would not only yield newly arrived, families and new potential friends and playmates, but also would yield a couple dollars.
Yeah. I love it. Oh man, there's so much to talk about there. But so am I understanding correctly that you were too young when you came over to really remember your time in the Philippines?
Correct.
Your like meaning your early years.
Yes.
Those were here.
So my sister Roz and I were around 2 years old when we immigrated. So we have pictures because my mother is that mother who loved a great party, still loves a great party. And before we were a year old, every month on the second day of each month, because we were born on February 2nd.
Oh, okay.
So every month on the 2nd, she would throw a party for us.
I love that.
So we would have pictures every month and then send them to our dad who was here in San Francisco. And so I grew up thinking that I had a birthday every month.
You have 12 birthdays a year. I love birthdays, but that might even be too much for me.
Every month. Every month.
Honestly, though, the theme I'm seeing is like love and gathering and celebrating.
Yes.
That's at the end of the day. That's what all that is.
Yeah, yeah. We have actually, and the fact that my parents had twins was not an odd thing in our family.
Okay.
My dad's family has twins. My aunt's the one you just met next door.
Mm-hmm.
My Auntie Mill and Auntie Ao, they are twins.
Okay.
So my mom has sisters who are
Okay.
twins.
Mm-hmm. Both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised they only had the one set. Okay, well let's then talk about your early memories growing up out here. Like what are some of your earliest? What are some of the first things you remember about maybe outside of the house?
Outside of the house, because I do remember living on 45th Avenue.
Okay.
At Kirkham, at my aunt and uncle's house with my cousins. I remember playing with. I have two older cousins who loved playing, and then we'd have family over. I remember moving into this house.
Oh, okay.
We were around 5. I think moving into this house, I remember that our real estate agent was an elderly, well, I thought she was elderly. She's probably younger
35.
than I. Yeah. She had gray hair already in a big 70s sort of bouffant, and her name was Mrs. Gum.
Oh.
And she was our realtor, and she helped us buy this house. And I remember thinking that was really cool. My sister.
Have you learned? like, how little they paid for this house?
Oh,
Because you hear the stories of like, and it's like, oh, it was like $20,000.
Right. I think it was like $29,000. This house.
40.
$24,000.
Wow.
$24,000. This house, up the street. I remember we looked at a few houses actually. I remember going to a number of houses, and when we moved here, and Mrs. Gum helped us, and my parents said, "This is our house." That was a great, that was a great time.
Even adjusted for inflation, that's
right
compared to where we are today.
Right, and even
bananas.
And even then, my dad tells of how my mom got a job at Little Sisters of the Poor convalescent home, which used to be, until recently, on Lake Street.
Okay.
And
oh yeah,
you remember that, like at Fourth Avenue in Lake.
Yes, it's a beautiful campus.
Yes, yes. When my mom started working there, it was not a beautiful campus. Ooh. It was a very scary, like institution, old building, like scary movie type thing. But then soon thereafter, they had remodeled it, and then it was wonderful. And I didn't mind going there to visit Mom. Both my parents worked graveyard shift.
Okay.
Most of their lives.
I'm glad you brought up jobs, though, because that's another part of the whole, like, how affordable it was to own a home, is that working class folks could do it. And a lot of them are still here, especially in these Western neighborhoods. It's just also speaks to, like, how much things have changed.
Right. Right. And
can't do that anymore.
And my dad said that when my mom started working, when she took that job at the convalescent home, that the money that she earned was used as the down payment. So they saved for a year.
Right.
And her whole salary.
For 1 year.
Yeah.
I love that for them.
Yeah. I know, huh?
Amazing.
Yeah.
But also, thank you.
Yeah, and that was a job in healthcare, and still an undervalued, right? An undervalued role. She eventually became a CNA, a certified nurse's assistant. But even as a CNA, I remember when I got my first job at high school at a law firm, I was making more per hour than my mother was making, and she had already been working there for a number of years.
Wow.
And so when we think about these, especially healthcare and service-oriented jobs, where so many immigrants and people of color find themselves, and especially for the Filipino community, for these jobs and professions that are revered in the Philippines and that are regarded highly in the Philippines, and you come here to the United States, it's a shift in that sort of value.
Yep.
Right. And I have to tell the story of one of our elders, one of our Paniqui elders who is now an ancestor. But she told me when she first immigrated to the United States, and she was a principal. She was a school principal in the Philippines.
Okay.
And there she was, and she says, imagine I'm a school principal in the Philippines. Your uncle was a lawyer in the Philippines. Your dad, an engineer. And here all three of us were cleaning a hotel room in downtown San Francisco. Right. She said she would cry every day, and think, really, was it worth it? Mm-hmm. And I think about that. I think about how we say now that, we sacrifice, or our elders sacrificed for us to be here. And I really have to pause a lot of times, and because we assume that the sacrifice is required of all immigrants, and yet, is it? Like, does it have to be that way?
Right. No, and also, I mean, maybe this is a different podcast. I don't know, but like the whole idea of the American dream.
Correct.
I would just add, it's complicated.
Right. Right. And I actually have a story about. I figured you were going to ask about the American dream, so I have kind of a story
How did
related
you know?
to that.
I didn't know that.
Kind of a story related to that.
Sure.
I'll tell the story of how I first realized that we were here for the American dream,
Okay.
I think. And that happened to me when I was in the 4th grade. My sister and I started going to school at our nearby parochial school,
Okay.
4 blocks away from the house. So prior to the 4th grade, we were bused into the Western Addition
Okay.
to a school that went up to the 3rd grade, K through 3rd grade.
All right.
So we were bused into the Western Addition. I was feeling very much like, how come I can't walk home like my friends, not realizing that they were walking home into what was then called the projects, right? And that we were bused because we lived in a different part of town, and that was a policy of the city, right? To mix it up a bit, right? But in the 4th grade, my parents enrolled us into Holy Name School right up the street. And in our first days there, I was asked if I wanted to play volleyball.
Okay.
Because the team was forming, and I hadn't played anything before, although I very much enjoyed tetherball.
Oh, yeah. When it's a rope and the
Correct.
pole and yeah.
Yeah. At the school that we were previously at, our principal, Mr. Holloway, would actually play every recess, almost every lunchtime. He would challenge one of the kids, one of the students at tetherball.
Against him?
Yes.
Playing an adult?
Great. I know.
I mean,
and he was
kids could get hurt.
he was a big, formidable man. And
Yeah.
and I remember like that was like the thing, you know. But tetherball was the thing.
Okay.
In all the way up to 3rd grade. And in the 4th grade, I was invited by my new friends to play volleyball. And so I ran home.
No pole, no rope.
No, it was
Just the
volleyball.
ball.
I didn't know what volleyball was.
Okay.
And I ran home because I was told I just need $5 to join the team.
All right.
I ran home 4 blocks. I yelled at my mother, I need $5. And she wouldn't give it to me.
Okay.
And I cried, and she didn't understand why, of course, because, I don't know, I was like being demanding. And she gave me $5. I think she might have given me 10 because I'm sure I had to sign up my sister too.
Oh,
Or,
right.
yeah, we couldn't do anything
I
separate.
thought you just cried really, really well.
Yeah, perhaps.
You got a tip.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, that makes sense. Like, here's one for you and your sister.
Right. I think that's why she withheld it from me, because she's like, wait a second, I got to double this up.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I ran back. I gave the $5. And then I hit the ball, the volleyball, and I hit it really well.
Oh.
And people were pleased.
Yes.
I made friends, and I literally remember thinking, this is why we're here. This is why Dad brought us here. This feels good. I'm making friends.
Okay.
And this is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is what we're supposed to be doing. And I think that was also simultaneously how I began to love sports.
I was just going to say, it makes sense to who you are that it was through that sporting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The volleyball team.
All right. So you went on to play volleyball at school?
Yes.
Okay.
Volleyball, and then kickball, and then basketball, and then whatever it is that they were doing, I wanted to be a part of it.
You're like, I can't get enough.
Yeah. Can't get enough. It was wonderful. We
Was it co-ed or just girls?
Girls.
The school was girls.
No, the school was
Was
co-ed.
co-ed. Okay.
Yeah.
But the teams
Sports were gendered. I remember Mrs. Harrington, who was our athletic director, was a woman. When I tell this story to people about how everyone in my early sporting experience and experiences with sports were all women,
Mm-hmm.
I'm realizing that's, and especially in now with women's sports, and women's sports is having a time of it now. But I was always incubated in that.
Right.
It was women who were physical educators, who were our coaches, who were also the administrators. My whole experience with sports, although I did have male coaches every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
but it was women, because women were the educators.
Yeah, right. So this moment that you're talking about now that's happening, and it's definitely happening, and I'm here for it 100%, but you're like, welcome, we've been waiting for you.
Kind of like that.
And
like,
you are not
yeah.
the first woman that I've heard say that. It's like,
Right.
and it makes it's like, we've always been doing this.
Yes.
Y'all just never noticed. You
Right.
didn't put it on TV because you said no one would watch, but you never put it on TV so that anyone could watch it.
Right.
Yeah, that whole thing.
I think that this interesting, like, again, this incubation of identities, how that's not just being cultivated and incubated, but literally what we see and what we experience. Now, as a 57-year-old adult, I really value the fact that my early years, my formative years, what I was used to, the standards that I saw, the examples that I saw, were all already in front of me, as if the future, as if I was already living in the future that we're now, like, experiencing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that in a woo-woo way. I mean that in a way that those spaces probably have always existed.
Right. Right.
And
They've just been stifled or erased.
Correct.
Or, right.
Correct. So
censored or... Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't ever, I guess I wasn't ever facing, like, dominant culture sort of indoctrination or socialization,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
right? I was incubated in a Filipino-specific context, even though I was living in San Francisco, California.
Mm-hmm.
I was also incubated in a sports context that was very woman and girl centric, and I don't know any different, and so I guess
Right,
that was
just your experience.
yeah. And so as I get older, and I haven't, especially in sports, because I taught for 20 years at an all girls high school. I didn't have to ever actually yield to sports and the dominant narrative of sports.
That was Carolyn Sideco. Check back next week for part 2, which is the last episode of season 7. That drops next Tuesday, wherever you get podcasts. Music for Storied San Francisco was produced, performed, and curated by Otis McDonald. Our contributing producer is Aaron Lim of Bitch Talk Podcast. And the show is produced and hosted by me, Jeff Hunt. Now in our 7th season, we have more than 270 episodes available on our website, storiedsf.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. If possible, please rate and review the show. I want to know what you think. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at storiedsf, and reach out to us there or email us at storiedsf@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Be super careful crossing the street. And keep being wacky, creative, and kind out there. See you next time on Storied San Francisco. We acknowledge and respect the first humans of the unceded land we call San Francisco, the Ramaytush Ohlone. We condemn the genocide of these and other tribes across the Western Hemisphere. We honor their legacy and history, and we support rematriation and sovereignty efforts.
This podcast is a proud member of the BFF.FM podcast network. Learn more at podcasts.bff.fm.
BFF.FM, best frequencies forever.